In this tutorial, we will be covering one of our new beta features in the Tribal Funding Registry called the Recipient Data Tracker. You'll see it in the TFR as recipients serving Alaska Native, American Indian, and Native Hawaiians who received funding from funders sourced via Candid 990 data. So what does that mean? Candid can be found at candid.org, and it is a nonprofit information service that provides data, tools, and resources to connect organizations. When you click on the Recipient Data Tracker, you'll see that it looks very similar to the Grants Tracker, and that's because it is. You can utilize this tracker in a similar fashion by using your keyword searches as well as any of your filters. So let me show you how we use this and a strategy that can help you utilize the Recipient Data Tracker to meet your needs. So I'm going to run a keyword search that will help me to sift through these nearly 7,500 items. I'm going to type in the word youth. Now what this brings up are 111 recipients who do work in the space of youth. Now let's say you're an organization in California and you actually know this organization called First Place for Youth. What you're going to do is click on that organization and you'll be able to see how many grants that they received, the total dollar amount that they received, and the average dollar amount received per grant. You can see where this organization is located or headquartered, and then you can see the two organizations or foundations who funded this, the First Place for Youth. So what this is going to do is help you understand, okay, we do similar work as First Place for Youth. We're looking for funding, and we can see that they were funded by these two entities. So perhaps there's alignment between these two entities and the work that we do. And so let me take a look and do some research on these funders. So I'm going to first search, click on this first funder, which is going to show me a little bit more information about. The first thing that I'd pay attention to is if they have an open grant opportunity in the TFR, you're going to find that here at linked grant opportunities. Another thing to note is that if we have a website on file, that will also appear here. So because there is no website, what this tells me is that this is a foundation that relies very heavily on relationship building in order to find their grantees. So you can see where this funder is located. The amount for right now, what's available to us is FY23 information that shows in fiscal year 23, they gave about $80 million to Alaska Native, American Indian, and Native Hawaiian serving organizations. The number of grants was 1,487, so close to 1,500 grants. We'll come back to their profile link, but you can also take a look at all of the organizations that this foundation funded between fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 25. So that means you can take a look at all of their grantees to see if there's anybody in your network who might be able to introduce you to them. You can also see if there are any additional organizations that you're familiar with or have a relationship with who you can connect with and ask, is this a good partner? Do you think you can make a warm introduction? So there's a wealth of information in here on the number of recipients from this particular foundation. Now let's take a quick look at the Candid profile link. So what this does is it'll take you back to Candid and it will show you any information that's available. So for here, there is an address available. So what this means as a fundraiser, to me, what I would do is prepare a one-pager, a very comprehensive one-pager about your work, the need, the work that you do to address that need, as well as any budget shortfalls or maybe some additional programs that your community needs. A simple one-pager that you can actually find on the Tribal Funding Registry if you go to our Resources tab and our Grant Research Writing and Reporting Toolkit. In this toolkit, we've got a number of different templates, but here you can find the copy of the Common Grant application. I would follow the cover page information as well as organizational information, statement of need, program description, goals and objectives. Just keep it simple, straight to the point, so that it doesn't take a lot of time for the foundation to read through your information. You'll want to make sure that your cover page really grabs your reader to say, this is the need, this is what's happening in our community, and this is why our organization exists. I would then send that to this location address just so that they can get some information about your organization. Another way that you can use the Recipient Data Tracker is to simply search an organization that you are familiar with. So for this, I searched Indian Collective, and I wanted to see the different organizations who give to the Indian Collective. Let's say your program does similar work to the Indian Collective, or maybe one of your programs is similar to one of their programs. Again, you'll be able to look in here to see the linked funders, get an idea of the amount of grants that they're receiving, as well as the average amount of those grants, so that you can kind of take a look and kind of get an idea of, are they receiving around the same amount that I'm looking to receive? So this is just an insight into connecting the dots in the world of fundraising to get you where you need to be to build the relationships, make the connections. So my word of advice is to utilize your connections. Look at your tribal council, your board of directors, your staff, your executives, any of your current donors. That's one that's often overlooked. It's okay to ask your current donors. So if you have a foundation who's giving to your organization, it's okay to come to them with a list to say, these are the foundations that we want to approach because we believe that their priority areas are very aligned with the work that we do. And we would like to speak with them to see if they're interested in investing in our work. Do you happen to have any connections to any of these organizations in this list, or is there anybody in your organization, in your foundation, your staff, your board who might be able to get an introduction for us? It's okay to do that. And that is what foundation fundraising looks like. It's very heavily relationship based. So send the emails, make the phone calls. This is why networking at different conferences is so important, because you can potentially make connections that could lead to a great relationship with a foundation that can support your work, whether it be a capital project or programmatic funding or general operating funds. It's important to make those connections so that you can get where you need to be in your fundraising journey. And the Recipient Data Tracker is just one of the features, the new features in the Tribal Funding Registry that helps you to accomplish that.